America may be facing the most challenging economic crisis of all time. And it's not another recession, it's not a stock market crash, not a war, but a pension crisis. Joining me today is best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. He's back with a brand new book, Who Stole My Pension and How Can You Stop the Looting? Discusses the most misunderstood and ignored cause of the pension crisis. Robert, I'm excited to have you back on. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I love your program. You have the best information. I just love it. Well, I really do. I'm addicted.
Thank you. Well, we don't often get to talk about pensions, but according to your book, there are over 50 million pensioners in the U.S. alone. What are the impacts of a ballooning retiree population on the healthcare sector, as well as government pension expenses and their fiscal budgeting? These are all themes you examine in your new book, and you say, wake up, America, and face this crisis.
Well, it's more than America. It's a global crisis. I'll give you one quick stat. In the next 10 years, 2 billion old guys like me will retire. 2 billion all over the world. And this is a global crisis. And the reason I'm buying gold and silver, I love silver because it's cheap, it's low priced, but it's because the government, in my opinion, will have to print more money to cover this massive 2 billion people shortfall of no money. And in America alone, the pension shortfall for defined benefit pensions is estimated to be $9 to $17 trillion. Wow. Right. So print. Good for gold and silver, gold and silver.
Robert, I have to ask you, how did we get into this mess? And I know it's not an easy question to answer in a soundbite, but is it a lack of education on proper personal finance, on retirement management, or is it just people don't want to talk about pensions because it's not the most exciting thing to talk about?
Well, people are terrified to ask, and I meet people with their 401k statements. They don't want to open the statement.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they know somebody already took the money out. So Who Stole My Pension? There's two authors. One is myself, and I cover what's called defined contribution pensions, which are 401ks and IRAs. The second author is Ted Siddell. He's a former SEC attorney, and he got sick and tired of watching these people, the Wall Street, the labor union guys, as well as many other people, stealing workers' pensions. So he became a whistleblower, and he is now the #1 whistleblower in America. I think his last payout was something like $34 or $40 million. He's a great guy. Ted Siddell's the second author. So we cover both defined benefit and defined contribution. And when you read Who Stole My Pension, you'll understand why defined contribution, the pension for firefighters, teachers, and police officers, is going to bring down the 401k. Now, this is all good news for people like me who are gold and silver fanatics.
And I think that's a really good point you bring up, Robert, because I know so many people who are afraid to go to the ATM and close their eyes when they get the receipt to know how much money is in my bank. But is that kind of the first step to take, is understand how much you have in your pension, what you should be contributing. Don't be afraid of these numbers.
Well, I think the first thing, obviously, because I want to sell some books here,
is buy the book.
If you read Who Stole My Pension, it'll make your blood boil. It's because you read the back cover of the book. Again, Ted is an SEC attorney, and he got sick and tired of the looting. So he has sued over $1 trillion worth of pension funds money. So that's why he's the biggest whistleblower around. I'm kind of afraid to stand next to him because someone might kill us, But he's treading on some very big toes. So when you read Who Stole My Pension, he writes about how they steal it out of the Teamsters, firefighters, pilots. I was going to be a pilot. Thank God I didn't fly for United Airlines because they stole their pension too. So when you read the book, you'll see it from an SEC attorney's side of how Wall Street and these union leaders, as well as a bunch of other culprits, are stealing the money straight out of people's pensions all over the world. And that's why I said there's 2 billion people in the next 10 years, old guys like me, who are out of time, which means I think
How do
the
you?
Fed, they'll have to print more money,
Well,
which is good for gold and silver.
But how do we stop that, Robert? How do you stop the bleeding?
Well, number one, it's a reason you read the book is because you understand how they're stealing it. Most people don't know how they're stealing it. Again, there's two authors, two types of pensions, defined benefit, defined contribution. They steal in different ways. But like I was talking to a friend of mine, and it's very, I live in a fairly wealthy neighborhood. This guy's an attorney, and he's all excited about the stock market. He says, oh, the stock market is up. I'm in love with Trump and all this. And I said, you idiot, can't you see it's the bond market that's going to bring it down? What? And the average guy is watching the stock market, but not watching the looting going out the credit market, the corporate credit market. So all that's covered in Who Stole My Pension. So if you become aware of how they're stealing your money, then you can say, well, maybe I should do something different. For example, let me ask all your listeners right now, if you found out you were retiring in 2 years and you found out you had no pension money, what would you do? That's the question. That's the question everybody in that book asks people to take a look at. And it's for young people too, because it's a real estate play. You don't want grandma moving in with you or your kids moving in with grandma. It's going to be an interesting time.
And as you mentioned, people are living, longer, which is fantastic. But I speak to a lot of people who say, well, I have $30,000 to $60,000 saved in my pension, but you're saying that's nowhere near enough. So how do you figure out a number that's comfortable for retirement?
I count gold and silver. That's all I do. I write about it in all the stuff I do. I mean, my latest book before this one is called Fake Money, Fake Teachers, and Fake Assets. I've been saving gold and silver since 1972, while it was illegal for me to buy gold. So I am a complete advocate. I've taken 3 companies public through IPOs: silver company, oil company, and gold company. It's cheaper to buy gold and silver than start companies. But anyway, I recommend to all my friends start buying silver because silver is so underpriced today. I love gold. It's going to keep going up.
Yep.
If you're just starting out, just start with some silver right now. It's like 30, 40, 50% underpriced right now. It's the biggest bargain in the world today. And gold has outperformed the S&P all this time. And people, all they can see is the stock market. And when that baby goes down, the next crash is going to make 2008 look like nothing, make it look like chump change. Well, because this is the biggest crash in history. It's affecting the most people is the old guys like me who are baby boomers who hope they can retire. Well,
because mainstream media keeps talking about S&P. They don't like talking about gold, Robert, but I know you love gold. And so last week when the metal hit a 7-year high, what goes through your mind?
I just celebrated. And I say to everybody, if you haven't bought gold yet, buy it now. Don't buy silver because you're going to wish you had bought more gold. But if you have no money, start with silver.
Would you enter and get into Bitcoin here? Robert, I know we spoke about this in the past. Do you like the cryptos at all?
I bought my first gold when I was 25 years old. I was in Hong Kong. I bought a Kruger Rand. I was a pilot in Vietnam. And if I was 25 years today, I'd probably be in Bitcoin. But I'm an old guy. My brain doesn't work around crypto. So whether you buy crypto or gold, I think it's a lot of your age and what you're comfortable with. So I love crypto. It's the blockchain technology. I think it's going to change the world. I don't know about Bitcoin. I own some. I own some Ethereum and some other Coinbase or something. But my love is with gold and silver because that's God's money. Gold and silver were here when the earth was formed, and gold and silver will be here when we're all gone. Crypto will be gone too.
Robert Kiyosaki, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Good luck with your new book. I urge everyone to get it. It's fantastic. Who Stole My Pension? How you can stop the looting. Good luck with it, Robert.
Yeah, thank you. Keep up the good work, Kitco. You guys are the best. Thank you, Daniela.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. And thank you for watching. We'll have much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned to Kitco.com. And joining me now on the sidelines of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, we're kicking things off.
Well, we were all bullish on the panel. I think everybody saw the macro pictures being very constructive for gold.
The key kernels of any of the 21st century civilization is energy and minerals.
So the problem is we're just not finding enough new deposits to replace what's being mined. That's where the problem is, and that's where the opportunity is.
You can come to a mining conference like this and say all nice things to these companies, and then meanwhile you short their stocks when you see they're full of
I think all of the problems that I've diagnosed in the U.S. economy have just gotten worse.
I always tell my friends that love gold, focus on the copper. You get all the gold as a byproduct.
Gold could actually really start getting bullish. I don't think a bull market has really begun.